And now, stop me if you've heard this before on the Toddcast podcast.
As a fan of MMA, you're well aware of the veteran voice of the Octagon, Bruce Buffer, the official announcer for the UFC events. It's time! He announces the main events. Oddly, what are the chances his half-brother is boxing and pro wrestling ring announcer Michael Buffer? Incredible. Bruce holds a black belt in Tang Soo Do and has fought as a kickboxer himself. And when he called up to be a guest, we talked about binge-watching shows, Daredevil and Shark Tank, great shows. He shared what it's like to have such a unique vantage point of the UFC. He talked about the first McGregor-Diaz fight. We got into comic books and collecting sports memorabilia. He even shared a near-death experience story. And stop me if you've heard this before, Bruce talked about the early days of the UFC and how it's been an evolutionary process for the organization.
Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with a spectacle. You know, it went from a spectacle to sport is exactly what happened.
Right.
And, the rules had to be modified. They had to be refined. The words mixed martial arts weren't even invented until about, I think, 6 or 7 years into the UFC's existence by an ex-commentator, Jeff Blatnick, who passed away a few years ago and was the man who overcame cancer to win the gold medal in the Olympics. It's different. You know, it was amazing back then, but it would not have got as big as it was today if it had not been refined, because it was just too much of a spectacle.
Stop Me If You've Heard This Before on the Toddcast podcast is brought to you by ProTech Welding, a CWB certified steel fabrication shop in North Vancouver, and online at protechwelding.com.
Now, before you go hunting for something else to listen to, let me make it easy. I'm Mike Carruthers, host of a podcast called Something You Should Know, and I speak with experts about fascinating things that affect your life, from human behavior, relationships, health, science, and everyday mysteries. We've been downloaded millions of times because every episode teaches you something you'll be talking about later. Open up Something You Should Know and give it one episode. You might just find your new favorite podcast.
Do you ever watch a TV show set in a historical time period and think, how accurate is this really? But also, does it matter if it's accurate or not?
Nefr-TV is a new podcast about shows set in ancient times. This season, we're recapping every episode of the show Spartacus: Blood and Sand.
I'm Ann Foster, and I have never seen this show before.
And I'm Gina Berry, and I have watched this show maybe too many times.
Join us every other Monday on the Nefr-TV podcast as we discuss the real history behind Spartacus: Blood and Sand.
Follow Nefr-TV, that's NEFER-TV, wherever you get your podcasts.
You've watched them from the outside your whole life. On TV, on stage, on the cover. The success that always looks like it happened to someone on a different planet. But what if it didn't? I'm Evelyn, and I've spent over 25 years in entertainment, producing for some of the biggest names in Hollywood. And here's what I learned. The distance between you and them, it's a lot shorter than anyone's letting on. On my podcast, Reppin', I sit down with the people you've been watching, and I ask them who they actually are. Not the brand, the person. Where they started, what it cost them, what almost broke them. Their grit, their courage, their resilience, and the lessons they've learned, it's all yours for the taking. Reppin', wherever you listen.